welcome back to another episode of Another Bourbon Show. Tonight we are going to be going back to the Penelope barrel and trying one that none of the three of us have tried before. We're going to be drinking the Penelope Rose Cask Finish. It comes in at 94 proof. This, for anybody that cares, is batch 05. I've not had this before, but I've heard some great things about it. I think that the bottle was about $60, something like that. But being a Penelope product, we know quite a bit about it, right? We know that it's MGP whiskey, 4-grain bourbon. They bring it in, they finish it, they blend it, they bottle it, and they sell it. And this one, I gotta say, before Steven, I want to hear what you have to say about it. It's a cool bottle, and this stopper is glass, that or crystal or something. I don't know. I think it's cool. I think the colors are pretty. That's what I don't want to steal any Steven's thunder because I don't know what he's gonna say. But it's a $65 bottle. Up until about a year ago, this was super hard to find. Now it's super easy to find. You're seeing it sitting on shelves. It's readily available at this point. But before we get into anything else, Steven, what do you think about this label?
I'm actually going to give this one a 10.
A 10?
A 10. Yeah, because I think it's like a 9 to 10, and I'm giving it the 10 on the curve.
Okay.
And my reasoning for that is because I think that this is, I already think that Penelope does a great job with their branding. It's depending on how you feel about their whiskey. We've had some whiskey that we didn't really like as much. We had some that we loved from Penelope at this point. And I think that can go a little bit either way. But I think one thing that almost everybody would universally agree on, including like MGP, is that they know how to sell a bottle, right? And I think that this Rosé Cask Finish is probably represents the best of their branding, because it just looks so good. It is the name Penelope already. It just fits so well with this particular aesthetic. The Rosé Cask Finish color being that kind of like beige pink. This is such a trendy looking bottle. I don't know how many units this has moved now that it's a little more available and it's out there. I don't know how many units this has moved from people just looking for like kind of a higher end bottle, and this just fitting the bill on the shelf. I think if you just get it in front of people, they're going to take a chance on this. This looks like something that you could give to somebody as a gift, even if they're not a whiskey drinker. It just looks like a really nice bottle. That stopper is a part of it, but I think that the flower etching and everything, it's beautiful. And it's the bottle shape I think is really nice. I don't talk about this much with Penelope because I think it's, we see the bottle shape a lot, but the choice to make it this long, more slender bottle also I think helps a little bit with the marketing to women, that it's this kind of more dainty bottle or something, you would say. It just looks nice. It looks delicate. The whiskey itself looks beautiful, and it shines through. So yeah, to me, I could nitpick this or that, but I think it's a killer bottle. So
All right. A 10.
10. Yeah. I don't hand them
the
out
first
often.
10?
No, I've handed out other 10s, or we've had theoretical 10s that we've talked about on here if we haven't had them.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't want to be too sparing with 10s. I think there's some that are just great. I can't nitpick them much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It is what it is.
If memory serves, you may have given Jack Daniel's Old Number 7 a 10.
No. Jack Daniels,
Huh?
I gave a 5. Because I said that was kind of
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
It's kind of like the middle ground.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the Jim Beam white label of labels.
But I gave Wild Turkey, like the one with the turkey label before this recent rebrand. I gave that like a 9.
Okay.
So I mean, I'm generous whenever I think it's a good label.
Yeah.
And there's
Except
just not
one.
much I could knock it for.
Except one bottle.
Which was utter bullshit.
Listen, just to touch on the Mellicor thing for a minute.
we need like a pitchfork, like best new review. You know how they like dog shit, probably neutral milk hotels, and and then you see it 20 years later, it's like, oh fuck, it's a 10 album now. Who would have thought? Right? That's gonna be you with Mellowcorn, dude.
I will say mellow corn label. It looks hideous, but it's so good at what it is that I would also never want to see it changed. Keep your fucking 3.
Your 10. Keep your 10, Millicorn. That's what we're saying. Even I swear to God, if you die before me, I will etch into your tombstone Millicorn as a 10. Because I will take a chisel and a hammer to your
Jesus, dude.
gravestone and chisel it in.
Oh, I'll do like if it's an open casket, I'll just pour mellow corn on you, dude, and just fucking light a match.
Jesus,
Well,
dude.
I will like strip.
In honor, all right. Dude?
I will strip labels off of 50 bottles of Millicorn and put them on your casket. That's what I will.
Jesus, dude. All right.
It's love.
These are your wishes, dude.
And by the way, I like how you're saying this like it's a hypothetical. I will die before both of you, okay? I'm gonna get my girl disease or whatever. I'm gonna die. You guys are both be there.
I mean, you did almost die from like working hard one time, physically hard.
Yeah. No,
Poked a hole in your lung.
only one time that you're aware of. Trust me. It's rough out there. And I work from home now.
All right, I do. Hey, Ryan, I want to know what you think of this.
You know, seeing the bottle online and actually you holding it in person, I didn't realize how much the roses are prominent on it, because when you see it online, it looks very reserved.
Yeah.
And actually seeing it here, it's.
Is it bad that I didn't know that was a rose?
No, I don't think so.
Is it a rose? Can we double check?
I thought so. I mean, it has to be, right?
That has to be.
I don't know.
I will say, I'll give you this though, Dan. It's not the most legible thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it is, especially when it has liquid behind it, it doesn't really matter. I think you could almost put anything there, like it in that style. It just the balance is nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever that flower is, it fucking pops on the bottle. And like you can feel it. It's
that's cool.
Yeah.
Embroidered or whatever.
Etched.
I'm trying to figure out if it goes up or down. It goes up, so it's not etched. Embossed? Is that a word?
Yeah. Embossed would be the word then, but that's strange because they never, it doesn't matter. Basically, if there's color to it like there is, they had to do something else besides emboss it. You know what I mean?
Fuck,
I don't know what that process is. That'd be an interesting question to ask, actually. Like a nerdy question to ask. How it's done.
I have a couple of the like big shots cell phones. I could actually text them. I'm not going.
Well, if you're ever talking with them, that's a question in your back pocket. If you're like, oh, I wish I could ask them something. I'd be curious how that process is done.
Yeah, I will.
Hey, here's a picture of my taint, by the way. What is
No, it'll be a threat. Answer this question or I'll send you a picture of my taint.
Hey, speaking of which, I am using the glass tonight.
Are you?
Oh,
the late, the great.
Rest in
I
power.
use that one. I'm gonna have ice. That's it.
See, this is actually a pretty similar product, but this is just laser etching. So yeah, so it's not quite the same thing.
Yeah.
It just feels rough a little bit.
Hey, before we get into drinking it, Ryan, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
I was told so this is like a glass or crystal stopper, right?
Yeah.
I was told that has is that a thing when it comes to rosé wine?
There's a lot of companies that do that, yeah. Majority don't, but specifically with rosé, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I've seen it with that, and then a lot of a couple like French rosés usually. I've seen a couple companies like South African wineries do it, but yeah, the style is very reminiscent of a French rosé.
So that reminds me, you just said something that made me want to reminded me that I wanted to read this. So the actual label part is pretty slim, right? Like, I don't know if is this considered a label too, Stephen?
I think so. Yeah, I think all that front face is what I would call the label.
Okay, so on the little piece of paper, the strip down here, it says Penelope Bourbon Cooper Series explores the marriage of different cask finishes with our signature 4-grain straight bourbon whiskey. Sweet and savory on the palate, Rose Cask Finish offers notes of candied vanilla and strawberry sweetness from southern France. So you saying about some French rosé use that? That's what reminded me. I wanted to read that. So
Yeah. And even going into the actual color of the whiskey, you see a lot of French rosés this color, right? That standard rosés you think of very, very pinkish
yeah,
and florally, right? But there's a lot of rosés that are this almost orangish color that are more orange than pink.
okay,
So I really see the rosé cask on this whiskey. This looks like a lot of French rosés.
okay. Well, the nose on this, I noticed the nose, and Steven noticed the nose right away also. But I noticed the nose before I even poured. When I just took this off earlier this evening, I noticed the nose. Has a very, very, very wine type of a nose.
Yeah.
Um,
It seems like in wine finish whiskeys, it's easy to get that overall nose that comes out a lot. Like you could not tell me that something was wine finished and I would be able to pick it out. You know what I mean?
very,
But this one is a little bit sweeter than
yes,
that, I think. And there's a little bit of like a licorice to it too.
yes.
Yeah.
Like I get sweetness, a lot of sweetness. I still get whiskey. I want to make this very clear. I get a lot. I do get whiskey on the nose, but I'm not going to talk about that because you should get whiskey on the nose. There's a sweetness to it. There's a fruitiness to it. I don't know that I would necessarily call it strawberry, except for the fact that I just read that already has strawberry in my mind. If I hadn't, some sort of a fruit cream, right? Like when you make those little packets of Quaker Oats that have like different fruits in them, that type of a fruit with cream. That's kind of the nose that I get.
Which is a little bit, if you've had Uncle Nearest at home,
Yeah.
that's kind of what I get from Uncle Nearest is kind of a fruit, cream, honey sweetness.
But I have got to sip this because it smells so goddamn good.
Cheers, guys.
Cheers.
Oh wow.
That's really light. Really, this is easy to drink. What's the proof on this?
94?
94.
I will say though that the palate did not match the nose.
No.
When I was expecting it to be a very sweet whiskey. Like a very decadent, fruity, sweet whiskey. It's not. That is not to say it's a bad thing, because I'm just going to clue you in now, listeners. It's not a bad thing at all. It's a good thing. But it is not what I was expecting based on
It is, yeah. It is a lot spicier than I thought.
Yes.
It's a lot of peppercorn.
Very dry.
Yes.
Very dry.
And acidic.
Yeah. But I definitely get strawberries on the finish, especially.
There's a little bit on the finish.
I get a lot on the finish.
No. I was going to say there's a little moment on the finish, I should say,
okay,
where there's like kind of like a little pop or like a burst of flavor. It's weird. If you were like charting out the finish, you'd go like that to me. It's like a little last beat on the heart monitor.
But then the finish does last a long time.
Yeah.
But there's like an explosion of a finish, I think is what you're trying to say.
It's like a second or two after you take a sip. There's just like an intense moment and it dissipates again. And I can't quite place it, but it's almost like you took another sip.
Yeah.
It's very strange.
Ryan doesn't like it.
No, I do.
Oh, okay. That look on your face was not one of enjoyment.
I'm trying to, like, I get that too, that almost second wind there for a second. it's oak, like that second wind's a little oaky for me, which I like. It's when you drink a lot of, red wines, especially rosés come from, it's just, you get a lot of oakiness from it, and I enjoy it. The legs are crazy on my glass too. I don't know if they're like that for your guys's, but
Yeah,
it's like single lines down the whole way around. Almost looks like a shades of like a umbrella or something. It's very interesting.
yeah. That pepperiness is like it's a spicy boy.
It is a spicy one, but I think this would be an incredibly popular one to like I said earlier, if you give it as a gift, I think it'd be a hit.
Mm-hmm.
I do not
Yeah.
think it'd be one that they just keep on the shelf and never drink. I think that this one is very we mentioned this with something else recently, but I feel like it's a very good welcoming whiskey where it's like you drink this and you're like, oh, like it's a great introductory into what makes whiskey different than a lot of other liquors, you know? And I think that you can experience all that stuff, but it still has this quality where it maintains some of that rosé, some of that sweetness, some of that fruitiness, and it may bridge the gap for people not used to drinking something quite like it.
Mm-hmm. But Stephen, you like what you like. It's got a lot of pepper, a lot of spice to it, but it is very light and easy to sip, easy to enjoy. And I think especially if you are coming into whiskey from wine.
Because I don't think the pepperiness is absolutely there, but I feel like that part doesn't actually last all that long to me.
Oh no, I agree.
So so I think it's like tolerable. It's one of those things where until you have the experience of drinking something like this, you drink it and then you go, oh, maybe I do like spicier drinks, you know?
And
Yeah.
I think that it's also a situation where like the pepperiness is not overwhelming. It's a spicy. It is a spicy boy. I'm going to stand that by that statement from earlier, but it's not overwhelmingly spicy, and it doesn't last terribly long. And most importantly to me, I think that the pepperiness helps bring out the other characteristics, helps separate the spiciness and the sweetness that comes after, and the strawberry and the vanilla. It helps. Uh, it helps separate the complexity in some ways.
And not having a sip for 2 minutes, it's very florally and sweet now in my throat. Like, if you got that too, it's like you're actually drinking a rosé or like a Pinot Noir or something, where you get that sweetness. It's not super, super dry. It's florally. It's nice. It's a good it's a good finish.
Yeah, this is an
Even
interesting.
even post 2-3 minutes after drinking it, it's good.
I want to mention again, Dan, that stopper on this bottle.
Mhm.
You mentioned how difficult it was to get out. And looking at it now, you can see a good angle of how low the profile is on it whenever it's sitting in there. So there's just nothing to grip onto, it seems like.
Exactly, and I don't even have it down all the way. Now it's down all the way. It went down maybe an extra 16th or an eighth of an inch, but that is absolutely part of it. It's very narrow, so like to try to grab it, you don't have a whole lot of space, and because I just poured, it's still wet, so it's easy to take off. But like the whenever I grabbed this bottle to open it for the night, I mean, it was not easy to take out at all. It was truly a challenge.
Yeah. Because like we talked about earlier, it's styled in the same way basically as a decanter, but every decanter puts more of a handle to it. Even something like Old Fitz, it has, a little bit of some raisivity to it.
That's a total ode to French rosés. They don't give you they go to the store and look at a bottle like Whispering Angel or any other French rosé that you see. It's that are like that. I mean, they're all very similar like that. I don't know if it's like a French thing.
Is there a way you're supposed to open them?
I just, go up. I don't think so. Usually when I open it, the cap doesn't go back on. So I open a bottle of wine, I'm finishing the bottle of wine.
Oh, speaking of
those
which,
bottles annoy me.
because we were having a little bit of wine tonight, I got a little charcuterie here.
Oh,
I got some cheese and some nuts and some cranberries. I'll let you know how this goes with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fancy.
Hey, if you need any more nuts, just let me know.
Okay, dude. Sounds like you're supplying the cheese.
Damn right I am. Oh man.
I just got back from wine country, California.
Yeah, how was that?
Awesome.
Oh, I thought you were for sure gonna say Missouri River region of Missouri.
I mean, comes to mind, right? That or up in Michigan. Yeah, it was out of this world. I'll just say that. We went to I posted on my Facebook, you guys probably saw, but it was a winery called Domaine Carneros, and they're owned by a French champagne company. So they opened their California version, and it was like you're in France or Spain. It was just awesome. We stayed in Sonoma, California, not Napa.
Mm-hmm.
Napa lives up to the name of definitely being a little more higher class. There were like 3 prime dive bars downtown Sonoma, and I'm like, this is the place right here. I'm like, I would move to this. Like, and one of the guys in my group, I'm not a big Gilmore Girls fan. My wife has it on all the time, so it's always on in the background. But are you guys familiar at all?
Jesse watches it sometimes, so I'm familiar.
It's like Stars Hollow, like the cutest little town ever, and they have like a little bit of everything, right? Like I walked through, I met this guy at the dive bar, and he was like, "Yeah, I actually own the Italian restaurant. I'm singing it too. You should come by." So we like walked by, and the guy's singing. There's like a soccer tournament, like
I dropped the
kicking tournament.
cranberry in here.
Drink it, dude.
Oh,
Drink it.
No.
Darn. At least it wasn't a nut.
Let's see how it is. Not bad.
Or dip them all in there, dude. Yeah, but you guys got to go. If I have a chance to, if we have like a guys and girls trip, we'll go out. I'll hook it up, do all the tours.
Yeah, I think we got our next stop.
I
should do it.
Oh,
we should do it, man. And we're staying in Sonoma, so we're not going high class in Napa.
I see no enjoyment from high classing it up in Napa. That does not sound interesting at all.
Steiner's Bar and Grill, dude. That was the dive bar. Steiner's.
I'm thinking a 1-bedroom apartment. What do you guys
think? Yeah. Thinking divorce.
For all 6 of us.
The 3 of us just get divorced. And we just become bachelors.
Let's open a bar out there. Let's get divorced, open bars out there.
What could go wrong?
Be that guy. We could have a bar. We could have a restaurant. We go sing at them.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jesse. We've been married for less than a month, but we're done.
Yeah.
I know we've been through a lot, but Ryan told me about Sonoma, and I have to go.
I don't think I have an option at this point, do I? So I think we need to let the audience know that this is our last episode
ever
in this format. In this format. So Stephen, why don't you tell the listeners and the viewers, because I still don't fucking understand it, what are the format that we will have from now on, so that they know what they can expect?
Basically, we're going to shift to doing at least the podcast that you're listening to now, that we typically release on our YouTube channel up to this point. It's going to be a monthly release instead of a weekly, or weekly as often as we could do, or whatever schedule.
Yeah,
and I think
been a more bi-weekly schedule for the past while.
For the past couple of months since we've been busy. But so that we just are changing the average upload speed, basically. And that will allow us to film more at a, I would say, easier pace. And in doing so, I think that'll allow us to make more interesting pairings in episodes. It'll allow us to get bottles to one another easier, and hopefully some point more easily. And hopefully at some point down the way, it'll allow us the freedom and the ability, because right now it's just not possible to do some additional videos too of whatever length, whatever interest we find. So the episodes themselves might not be much different. Maybe they'll be like a little bit longer or something. But when we do have new episodes of the podcast, uh, the podcast itself won't differ that much, other than hopefully you just find it more interesting in terms of the stuff we have to talk about in our personal lives or whatever, just shooting the shit. But also, hopefully, we're able to craft some episodes that either make sense or they're just packed more with. Maybe you don't care about one whiskey very much. Maybe it's not a very interesting whiskey to us or you, and you can always look forward to the next one that's coming up within that episode. So there is that. The idea will be that for the most part, we might shift this around because we do whatever we want, but there may be like 3 to 4 whiskeys in a single episode that we do. And we give scores for all those. We get drunk, and we have some fun.
Yeah, that's what I'm really piecing together, is that we're gonna get really fucking drunk.
Yeah. So it's going to be a lot different than normal.
I think currently, typically, we just get pretty buzzed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't.
Every
I
now
don't
and
know the
then.
last time I really got drunk on an episode. I think during COVID it was much more common for us.
There were a number of nights where I slept on the futon.
Yeah.
I mean, I
'Cause
drank 3/4 of a bottle of Mellow Corn, dude.
Part of that is having guests. We haven't had guests in a little while too.
that does tend to get us a little bit
Yeah.
heavier pours. And
Do you guys want to rate this? I think we're
At that point, I'll go first. I'm going to go an 8.7. I loved it. I love the complexity of all of it. I love even just the color of it. The homage to rosé, I think, is really cool. I haven't had
homage.
the homage, I won't say that. But the yeah, just all about it. The peppercorn was really great, but then it became very subdued and it was sweet. It was florally, that honey you were talking about, Dan, just on the palate. I urge you to take a sip of this and then not have a sip for 3 to 5 minutes and just see what happens, because it does wonders. The aging of this, I think it's the perfect proof. If this was 110, I think it'd really punch you in the face. At certain points, this does punch you in the face at 94, but like I said, it's so subdued, it's so complex. I love the whole rosé thing here. I love the color of the whiskey. Honestly, it's like a French rosé. It's in every aspect of what they've done. I'm just honestly in awe of it. I'm going 8.7.
I'll go next. So the first number, as soon as Steven said something about rating it, the first number that popped in my mind was 8.7. It just so happened that that's where my mind was set at, for much of the same reason. I highly encourage you to do what Ryan said, right? Take a sip, take your first sip, and then just let it sit for a couple minutes. Sit there and watch what happens. It's very cool. And then drink as much as you want, as fast as you want. But give yourself a 2-ounce pour. And once you get deeper into that 2-ounce pour, even if you're taking a small sip after small sip after small sip, it becomes more and more delightful. And I don't think it has anything to do with becoming drunk. It's just the changes that occur, the finish, just piles on top of each other, and then you just get this really flavorful mouthfeel that stays with you no longer how long it takes before you take another sip. And that's kind of where I'm at now. Just a very nice vanilla, honey, strawberry sensation throughout my mouth, and it just stays there no matter how long it is before I take my next sip. And then I take another sip and I get a little bit of pepper, and then it's right back there. It's just a really, really enjoyable pour. I'm not a wine guy, so I don't know anything about this being a homage to French rosés, but I can tell you that this is a delightful pour. I really enjoy it. So it's an 8.7 for me.
And I'm gonna come in at a 9. This one, I think I feel the same way about it as you guys overall, but it just cracks the 9s for me. I think it's right there on the line, and it just sneaks over because I think the one thing maybe I didn't hear you guys exactly say that I would add is that it also it doesn't fatigue you either. Like as I'm drinking this, and I worried about this early on. I thought because it was peppery, because it was kind of acidic, I thought by now in the podcast, I would kind of be tired of it. I would kind of be ready to stop drinking it or have something else. But I could totally have another pour or two of this and be totally fine. It doesn't have that quality where you feel kind of like stomach achy or think you might be or any of that. It's just you can it's that hallmark that we always talk about where if you want, you could sit there, you can pick it apart and really analyze it like we did, or you could just break it out for people who I said earlier, like are new to whiskey, and just enjoy a pour with them. It really doesn't matter, and I think that the nose and the palate are very different, but they're two great combos that work together. It's like having a cologne and an aftershave that balance or something like that really nicely with each other. It might not be the exact same scent, but it just could smell nice together or whatever. It just works here. The components of this every step of the way make it greater than the sum of its parts, and that combined with the package, I will say, especially for the price point, I think you said it was like around $60 maybe, Dan.
Yeah, I think 60, 65, somewhere in there.
I'm gonna say this is one of the best like gift whiskeys we've come across. Obviously, it's good for just buying for yourself too, but just because it looks so nice, because it's a good sipper, I think for just about anybody, um, I think it's a killer gift idea coming up on the holiday season. So I say to look out for it, and it breaks into the 9s for me with a 9.0.
Another brother showing